Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to our 35th race of the second season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. It is our penultimate race where we will be deciding who are going to be the final four drivers to compete for the Duracell Cup Series Championship next week at Homestead Miami Speedway. Getting ready today for the run of the Subway 400 at North Carolina Speedway. Some people call it Rockingham Speedway, and some people just lovingly call it The Rock. It is a tire eater, it is a strategy race, and if last year's race is anything to go by, track position is going to be very, very important. And we know that outside line is the preferred line. We saw Jay Jefferson last season be able to pass both Dylan Poteet and Jose Mills on the outside line to pick up the victory. And it was kind of an underdog story victory as well. So we'll see if that's going to happen here today. But of course, more importantly, our focus is going to be on our 8 remaining playoff contenders as they try and make their way into next week's season finale to compete for the Duracell Cup Series Championship. We're going to take the opportunity here to give you what the point scenario is for each one of those 8 drivers too before we get the command. But let's first focus on our front row here today. For the second time, I should say, in the last 3 races, Levi McIntyre lines up on the pole position. He had the pole 2 weeks ago at Boston as well. So obviously the qualifying program, very good for Levi McIntyre. He'll line up alongside of Wyatt Quayle. Both of those drivers still looking for their second win of the season. Levi winning at New Hampshire earlier on the season. Wyatt Quayle winning way back at race number 3 at Las Vegas. Behind them, you got another couple of former winners. Matt McIntyre, 2-time winner this season, lining up there looking for his 3rd win of the year. And Matt Haas, who went to victory lane at Chicago Motor Speedway back during the second half of the regular season, lines up in 4th. So you got a lot of contenders up here towards the front, all trying to find victory lane yet again this season. The highest starting playoff contender is Dylan Young. He will roll off from 5th place, so we'll see if this good starting track position will help him in his quest to make it into the top 4. So about our 8 drivers, where are they? What are their chances of making it to Homestead? Well, as it stands right now, Ryan Acosta sits the points leader, and he and Ryan Brummer are really the only two who have had decent outings in the last 2 races at Boston and Armory Digital. And both of them come in with a pretty, I wouldn't say easy task, but it's certainly not nearly as daunting as it is for the other 6 competitors. Acosta comes into this one with a 31-point gap between himself and 4th in the standings, which is going to be that critical cut line here today. So all that Ryan Acosta has to do mathematically is finish in the top 30 here today. He is automatically, mathematically, going to make it into Homestead Miami's Final 4. Ryan Brummer, similar situation, although not quite as far down that he is able to finish. He comes in with a 25-point advantage between himself and the 4th in the standings driver. So that means he has to finish in the top 24 here today, and he will automatically make it into the Final 4. So it's looking like 50% of our Final 4 at Homestead is going to be the Ryan versus Ryan battle. Now, what about everybody else? Well, from 3rd place on down through 7th is where it's going to be very congested and where the main focus is going to be for us as to who's going to be in and who's going to be out. Michael Norman is 3rd in the standings. He is only 5 points ahead of the cut line, which right now, that 4th in the standings cut line is held by Carson Gum. Cody Lamas, 5th in points, is only 1 point behind Carson, and Zach Rogers, 6th in the standings, is only 3 points behind Carson. Dylan Young, we mentioned him starting up here in the top 5. He is 7th in the standings. He is only 7 points behind that cut line. There's only 12 points separating 3rd through 7th in the standings coming into this one. That is extremely, extremely close. And the driver 8th in points, the driver that has suffered back-to-back DNFs, both not of his own making. He got caught up in Carter Friesen's wreck at Boston. He got caught up in Sebastian Kukelan's wreck at Armory Digital, and that is Cole Baker, our Daytona 500 winner. Baker comes into this one a total of 22 points behind the 4th in the standings cut line. He is not in a must-win situation. We should point that out. Mathematically, he can still make his way into the top 4, but he absolutely needs to finish this race inside the top 15, preferably in the top 10, and he would probably need a little bit of help. He needs drivers like Carson Gum, Cody Lamas, Zach Rogers, Dylan Young to run into some issues here today. It is still mathematically possible for him to make it. However, it wouldn't hurt him to get a victory. And we should point out as well, we have stressed all season long about the win and you're in to the next round here during the playoffs. Well, all 8 of these competitors, if any one of them go to victory lane here today, they head into Homestead Miami Speedway with a 5-point advantage over their other 3 competitors, and those 5 bonus points could be extremely, extremely important. So, we'll keep an eye and see if those 8 playoff contenders will fight their way to the front, but bear in mind, there are 32 other drivers in this field that are not running lithium blue chase banners. They could care less about the playoffs right now. They just want to go out there and they want to win. Let's go down trackside, get those most famous words in motorsports as we're about ready to go racing here at North Carolina Speedway.
Son, drivers, start your engines.
So as the Dodge Charger? Is it a Charger or a Challenger? I guess it's a Dodge Challenger pace car. Leads the field off pit road. Take a look on the right side of your screen at your starting lineup for today's race. We should also point out, too, that with 2 races remaining, the rookie points battle is heated up again. Cody Lama still leads that, but he only leads by 3 points over Sebastian Kukulans. So, that rookie points battle is not over yet. We still could have something going on at Homestead Miami as far as who's going to take the Rookie of the Year honors. A lot of it's going to depend on where everybody is situated points-wise after this race. But Levi McIntyre, our winner from New Hampshire. Wyatt Quayle, our winner from Las Vegas. Let's see if either one of them can get their second win of the season here today at Rockingham. Into the restart zone. Green flags in the air. Let's roll at the Rock. Three wide back there. That's William Brock going to brush the wall. Alexander Rowe brushes the wall, gets down to Kyle Matthews. Last season, turn 2 was a big issue for drivers, running wide, 3 wide on the high side off the corner. But it looks like we will get the first lap completed under green as it's the McIntyre battle up front. Levi and Matt's going to get to the inside line on Levi McIntyre. Let's see if he can make the pass here through turn 2, and yes, he will. That's actually quite surprising because last year it was that outside line that was the preferred line, and now Matt Haas is going to move by. Maybe they're able to make the move on fresher tires. I guess as the run goes on and the tires get heated up, maybe that outside line will kick in, as I believe we're under caution. Yes, we are. Caution for the first time today here on lap number 2. Just after Matt Haas takes the lead, and looks like we had an incident off turn 2. See at least 1 pair of skid marks, maybe 2. And the big question is, were any of our playoff contenders involved? And there's your answer. 3 of them. Lamas, Gum, and Baker. Well, I don't know how bad that damage is going to affect Cole Baker, but that could be his playoff hopes and his chances of making it into the Final 4 completely up in smoke. Carson Gum came in that critical position of 4th in the standings, and Cody Lamas was right behind him, 1 point behind him in 5th. So that's going to make that battle even more interesting. Zach Rogers ahead of him. Zach Rogers started this race from dead last. Looks like he got through the wreck, though, and I wonder if anybody's going to come to pit road. Yeah, a couple drivers did, including the 8 of Matt Haas. William Brock's on pit road. Gas and go for Matt Haas. Benny Watson also came to pit lane. He was up inside the top 10. James Qualls on pit lane. Carson Gum stayed out. That left side damage we saw, he stayed out. Adam Garcia's in. So is Jack Mitchell that we see here. Let's follow the 84 and the 11, because those are 2 playoff contenders. Baker going to pull into the attention of his crew. They've got to keep him out. He cannot retire, otherwise his playoff hopes are done. Looks like Cody's going to try and continue as well. So as we're under caution for the first time here today, some drivers pit, some drivers do not. Matt Haas comes to pit road from the lead, so he's got some strategy in mind as it's Matt McIntyre showing the way. Let's go back and see what happened. 3 playoff contenders right off the bat involved in an incident off turn 2. This one's going to start between a couple of former teammates from last season, now competitors this season on different teams, both trying to make it into the Final 4. Cole Baker just runs the corner 2 wide, as did LaPlante and Jesse Turner. Baker comes down into Carson Gum. He then goes down into Jessica Shelton, our winner from last week at Armory. And then you look on the left side of your screen, Cody Lamas tries to come back up, and he wasn't clear of Charles Sanford. Sanford's going to hook him in the right rear quarter panel and send Cody up into the outside wall. So that is what brought out the caution for the first time here today. 3 of our playoff contenders involved just like that. Didn't look like that hard a hit for Cody Lamas, but it was nose first. Cole Baker with both left and right side damage, and Carson Gunn we saw stay out. He sideswiped Shelton, has damage on the left side of his car, but he might still be okay as well. I believe all 3 of these competitors have continued, but we'll have to wait and see just exactly if they're up to speed or not, and this is obviously going to lose them quite a bit of track position also. Green flag set to come back out on lap 7 of 50. We'll see if being a single file restart, if we'll have more of a chance of going into a long green flag run now, or will they be anxious to go 2 and 3 wide once more. Matt McIntyre leads Levi McIntyre. They are first and second. Dylan Young, the highest running playoff driver, now up to third. James Shelley in the 25 this week. He's in fourth. Mitchell Collins fifth. Then it's playoff contender Ryan Acosta in sixth. He's also got another playoff contender not far behind him, and Ryan Brommer. We got an issue for Matt McIntyre on the start. The 7 car is down at the bottom of the track. I don't know if he missed a shift and blew a gear or what, but problems for Matt McIntyre, 2-time winner this season. Dylan Young, he wants that bonus point for leading the lap. He's going to go to the inside of Levi. Remember, now we're on older tires, so will that inside line actually work off the corner? And it looks like it will. He will prevail by half a car length and get that bonus point. There's Ryan Acosta, and there's Ryan Brommer there on the high side in that 9 car. Both of them right now up inside of the top 10, or just outside the top 10 right now, I think, for Ryan Brommer. No, Brommer's still in the top 10. He's battling for the 8th position with Sebastian Kukulon. So right now, with where both of them are running, Ryan Acosta and Ryan Brommer, they are both into the Final 4 at Homestead. And I believe with where Dylan Young is running, he would be in the Final 4 as well. So what about that final 4th spot? Well, right there could be the driver that could be taking it. Michael Norman right now at 22nd as the caution is out again. Second time today, another early yellow. And Dylan Young's going to be the leader under this one. Leads the field back to caution. Looks like this time it was an incident on the front straightaway out of turn 4. And it looks like whatever it was swept up into turn 1. Matt McIntyre coming back onto the racetrack, so whatever the issue was he had on the restart, they fixed it, but he is now multiple laps down. And Cody Lamas was involved yet again. More damage on the front of that machine. And that might be a garage area trip, I don't know. We'll see. His playoff hopes hang in the balance. And with Dylan Young out in front, that is not good for Cody. As he pulls into the attention of his crew, they will try and fix it, so they're hoping for some kind of a miracle. Little contact there between teammates Shelton and Sanford. Don't know what that's about. James Qualls has got some damage, and I don't think he was involved in the previous incident, so I think he might have been involved in this one. Remember, he had given up quite a bit of track position to come to pit road under the last caution, so we'll see if it was himself and Cody Lamas that maybe brought out this yellow flag. But for now, looks like everybody came to pit road. I don't think anybody stayed out, even of the drivers that stayed out under the last yellow flag. And it will be Levi McIntyre winning the battle off pit road over James Shelley, Mitchell Collins, Trey Wright, and Ryan Acosta. Dylan Young's team with a very slow pit stop. He's going to come out, looks like, around the 9th position after coming into pit road from the race lead. Let's go back now and see what brought out the second yellow flag of the day here at Rockingham. There it was, off turn 4. Charles Sanford runs the corner wide, gets into the wall. William Brock's already there to his left rear quarter panel, so when the 0-3 loses all that momentum, there's just nothing William Brock can do, no reaction time. Sanford goes spinning through the grass. I don't know if the caution came out at this point or not. Yes, it did. So these drivers, I think right here, had already taken the yellow. And you can see right there, contact between Chris Dollerton and Matt Haas. I think Qualls turned down low to avoid, but Benny Watson was already there. And just watch Cody Lamas. He's there by himself, up on the top side, trying to mind his own business. And then runs into the 54 of Qualls. And again, up into the outside safer barrier. That's the second time he's been up into the outside wall. First time was over in the entrance of turn 3. This time in the center of 1 and 2. And again, more damage sustained on his Florida Panthers Toyota Camry. Now, this being Rockingham, it's got somewhat long straightaways, so you're going to lose some straightaway speed if you've got engine damage, but in the corners, you can kind of make it up. So for drivers that have damage, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be completely off the pace, but obviously for Cody Lamas, he's 2 for 2 and getting involved in wrecks here today, and that's definitely not the kind of momentum you want to have, even if you do make it into the Final Four next week at Homestead. Getting ready to go back green, I actually found out that Austin LaPlante and Jessica Shelton came to pit road on the lap that we saw Charles Sanford spin when the caution came out. So they are both trapped on the tail end of the lead lap. Matt McIntyre with them as well, I believe, is also on the tail end of the lead lap. Cody Lamas is 2 laps down, had to stay on pit road for extended repairs, so now he's just hoping the other playoff contenders have some issues, as it'll be Levi McIntyre, James Shelley, Mitchell Collins, Trey Wright, and Ryan Acosta, your top 5. And there you can see Cody is not up to speed at all. And the caution is out again. We didn't even have the green flag in the air, and the flagman immediately had to change to the yellow flag. Must have had some kind of stack up on pit road, as we just saw a lead change. Levi McIntyre caught behind Cody Lamas, and Mitchell Collins is going to go to the race lead and lead us back to yellow. Ryan Acosta got second. Jose Mills moved to third. Levi trapped behind the 84 of Cody Lamas, lost 4 spots, and fell all the way back to 5th. And that's going to put Matt McIntyre, Austin LaPlante, and Jessica Shelton back on the tail end of the lead lap now. I'm not sure what even brought out the yellow. It was like immediately after the green flag flew, the caution came out, and I don't even see any skid marks. Last car running here at the tail end of the field would be James Qualls. Oh, Carson Gum, actually. Hold on. He's got a lot of front-end damage now. I don't know if that was due to a stack up here under yellow or if he was the one that brought out the caution flag, but it's quite a bit of front-end damage now on the Sharpie Chevrolet. And remember, we've already documented he comes in 4th in the standings, that critical spot. And that could potentially help Cody Lamas in a little way, but not much, with the fact that Zach Rogers is still running on the lead lap, so too is Dylan Young and Michael Norman. Let's go back and see what happened, because I'm kind of perplexed as to why the caution immediately came out after the flying of the green flag. This was it. They were coming back for the restart here. James Qualls, I'm not exactly sure if he was trying to stay high to keep out of the way, and he just misjudged it, but he got into the wall and spins off the nose of Zach Rogers. This was coming to the green flag, too, so that's why the caution immediately came out. Kind of surprised they threw the caution, to be honest, because the leaders were just going into turn 1 at the time. Nobody was going to, in any way, I don't think, hit the 54, but NSRA officials' discretion. They threw the yellow flag, and obviously 3 very happy people the caution came out were Jessica Shelton, Austin LaPlante, and Matt McIntyre, because that puts them all back on the lead lap. Let's go back again for yet another restart. We are working our 3rd caution of the day here, and not even 15 laps in to today's race at North Carolina. We're back live, and we have issues for the 2 of Dylan Young. Dylan Young has been sitting on pit road for the last 30 to 40 seconds. They're not even seeming to work on the car. I'm not sure what's wrong with him, but an issue for Dylan Young here, and that is going to definitely have some tremendous playoff repercussions. As he came into this one 7th in points, he was running really well here today, and now he's going to lose multiple laps on pit road, and I would love to be a fly on a wall down there on the pit box, find out what exactly is going on. That could be Dylan Young's playoff hopes completely gone, and we'll update to see if he's able to continue or not, or is it something so detrimental he will not be able to continue. Mitchell Collins is now ready to go back green with Ryan Acosta on his back bumper, Jose Mills in 3rd, Sebastian Kukul on there in 4th, Levi McIntyre now back to 5th. The rest of your top 10 are Marcus Sachi, James Shelley, Trey Wright, Ryan Brommer, and Alexander Rowe. Green flag back in the air here on lap 19. Please, can we get into a long green flag run now? So far, everybody is still running. Cody Lamas is 2 laps down. Currently in the 39th position, and right now Dylan Young is 2 laps down as he still sits on pit road. His teammate, though, Mitchell Collins, out in front. Ryan Acosta, Ryan Brommer still up here inside of the top 10. Look at Cole Baker. Baker got involved in the first wreck of the day, and now he's up almost inside the top 10. Trying to keep his playoff hopes alive, and this is definitely one way of doing it. Cody Lamas has had issues today. Dylan Young has had issues today, so those are two drivers that Cole Baker would probably pass in the points. He's running farther ahead than Zach Rogers, so now the driver he would have to worry about, I think, would be the 3 of Carson Gum, who is still running, by the way. Carson Gum in the 3 car got damage from that stack up under caution. He's right now scored in the 33rd spot. Trouble! Casey Nanico spins. Matthew Rodriguez collected as well. Is that going to bring out a caution? Yes, it will. Caution out again. 4th time today in the first half of this race. And that time, no playoff contenders involved. It was Nanico and Rodriguez, as Dylan Young still sits on pit road. As things stand right now, if my calculations are correct, see, Baker came into this one 22 points behind Carson Gum. He's in 8th, so he needs Carson Gum to be running in 30th or worse. Carson's in 28th. So I think right now it looks like it would be Ryan Acosta, Ryan Brommer, Michael Norman, and Carson Gum still your top 4. But that could certainly change, because I think Cole Baker, according to the live points, is either 2 or 3 points out of making it into the final 4. But we'll still document all of that in a moment. Let's go back and see what happened off of turn 2 between Casey Nanico and Matthew Rodriguez as Mitchell Collins continues to lead. And it was Marcus Sachi who's going to start this one. There you see him off turn 2. Drivers just do not seem to know how to run that high line there when they're on the outside 3 wide. He comes down to Casey Nanico. Nanico gets sent to the outside wall, comes down and collects Matthew Rodriguez. Pretty good contact there with both the right front and right rear of that Hulu Toyota Camry. Matthew Rodriguez gets into the wall with the left rear of his machine, but actually got the car righted and continued on. Matt Rod was running in the 25th position at the time. Casey Nanico in 22nd. So the biggest detrimental thing for both of them is they were going to lose a lot of spots on track getting caught up in this wreck. So that's what brings out the caution for the 4th time today. We have worked 4 cautions in the first 25 laps of this race. And definitely at this point in time as well, we are starting to get a pretty good, clear picture of who's going to make it into the playoffs and who is not. As things stand right now, with drivers that look like they will definitely make it into the playoffs, Ryan Acosta and Ryan Brommer certainly fit that bill. Acosta running in 3rd. Brommer is just outside of the top 10. He's actually back now in 17th. But still, as long as he runs in the top 25, he is going to make it into the final 4. Drivers that look like they are going to fit the will not status of making it into the playoffs include Cody Lamas. He is still trapped 2 laps down. And Dylan Young, who still sits on pit lane. And up to this point, he is 8 laps down to the leaders. In all honesty, they might as well just push that car behind the wall, because I don't see how he's going to possibly make up 8 laps. He's just going to lose another one here as his teammate's going to go by him. So Dylan Young, Cody Lamas, I think right now they are basically out of the hunt. So it's coming down now for those final 2 spots between Michael Norman, Carson Gum, Zach Rogers, and Cole Baker. Baker is still in the hunt as he is right now in that 8th position. And if he can finish 22 spots ahead of Carson Gum, be running ahead of Zach Rogers, which I think he came into this race 19 points behind Rogers, then I think he would have a shot of getting it into the final 4. Michael Norman's not running all that great, as he's going to be restarting back in the 22nd position. So Michael's got some work to do as well, as Mitchell Collins gets ready to put us back under the green flag yet again here at Rockingham. We are now past the halfway point. And they almost looked like they were going to go 3 wide back here, but they didn't. William Brock and Cole Baker trapped now behind the 84 of Cody Lamas. That's not good for the 11. He needs to either gain spots or have Carson Gum lose spots, and right now he is boxed in. Let's see if they can move the 84 to the top side here. Looks like Baker's going to do just that. He says to William Brock, "You're not going to move him? I'll move you both." So So Baker going to move by. Adam Garcia's going to move by. James Shelley looking for a line to open as we got a battle for the lead up front. Jose Mills going to get by Mitchell Collins, and he's going to go to the point. Ryan Acosta going to follow in his tired tracks into second. Ryan Acosta knowing that right now he is locked into the Final Four, so he wants to win this race and have those 5 bonus points heading into Homestead, Miami. Ooh, almost some contact there as we got a battle for third. Levi McIntyre moving Mitchell Collins up to the top side. Field's starting to get spread out, so maybe we could start settling into a long green flag run. Maybe, air quotes, all over the place. Mitchell Collins all of a sudden the handling of his race car going away as he's going to lose a lot of positions. Levi McIntyre, the pole sitter, moving back towards the front. He'll go to second. Cole Baker following in third. Let's follow the progress of the 18 and the 3 further back. Oh, there's another driver making some moves. Zach Rogers. Oh, contact in the wall for Benjamin Miles right in front of Michael Norman. He saved it, but that's going to lose Michael Norman some momentum. But Zach Rogers now up there in the 26th position. He's obviously running ahead of Cody Lamas. He's obviously running ahead of Carson Gum, and he's running ahead of Michael Norman. So right now, I believe Zach Rogers would be moving into a Final Four position with where he is right now. He came into this one 3 points behind Carson Gum and 8 points behind Michael Norman. So Norman has to be running back around 31st or worse, and he's back in, I think that's around the 36th position. No, 33rd is, it is 36th. Carson Gum's in 35th. So right now, the 6th car of Zach Rogers would be in. Your Final Four right now, I do believe, with where everybody's running, would be Cole Baker, who's out in front, Ryan Acosta, who's currently in 6th, Ryan Brommer, who's just outside the top 10, and his teammate, Zach Rogers. Battle for the lead between Cole Baker and Matt Haas. Cole Baker's car looks like it's been through the wars. He's got right side damage, left side damage, rear damage, but the front is good, so it means the engine is good, and it's proving that it has a car capable of winning, as he's going to edge Matt Haas for that lap lead there. Matt Haas trying to get the race lead back. Matt Haas last season drove for Unknown Motorsports, and it was an Unknown Motorsports car that won this race in Jay Jefferson, now over in a single car team of his own at Haas Racing. Trying to get his second win of the season is Matt Haas in that Toyota Camry, battling side by side with Cole Baker, and that time the inside line prevailed. And as these two continue to battle, here comes Adam Garcia in the 12. Garcia, one of a few drivers that has made every start in the Duracell Cup Series but has not gone to victory lane, and still looking for career win number 1 as he's closing in on the top 2. Ryan Acosta continues to run in 6th, so his playoff hopes continue to brighten. Ryan Brommer, moving around Carter Friesen. That, I believe, was for the 12th position, so his playoff hopes continue to look like they are in good shape. And there is Zach Rogers right now in 23rd, trying to pick up more spots as he's trying to move by Jesse Turner, Marcus Sacchi, and others. He has a pretty good gap from himself back to the 18 of Michael Norman. There is Norman. Norman, I think, spent a good portion of time stuck behind the slower lap machine of Cody Lamas. He's now in the 30th position, trying to work his way up to that second group. Right now, his goal is to get up there and pass the 6 of Zach Rogers. Carson Gum's at the tail end of that pack we saw Michael Norman in, so I think right now he could very well be out of the playoffs unless something happens here. Back up front, Cole Baker to the inside of Matt Haas for the lead. He edged out Matt Haas at the line. He's going to edge out him here on the exit of turn 2. He'll take the top spot back. And Adam Garcia, just watching this battle go on, about 6/10 back, he could get up here in a few moments and make it a 3-man fight for the top position. Let's do some calculations real quick between Zach Rogers and Michael Norman. The two of them were separated by 8 points. Rogers last time by crossed in 21st, so Michael Norman, with where Rogers is running right now, Michael Norman has to make his way up at least into the 29th position, and right now he's one spot away from that. He is currently in 30th. Drop back to the 18. There he is. He's got to bypass that 31 of Derek Hamill, the 7 of Matt McIntyre, because as he's making passes, so too is Zach Rogers in the 6. Rogers behind Marcus Sacchi, still in the 21st spot. Michael Norman trying to get by Derek Hamill. Now Hamill crosses low to try to get the inside of Benjamin Miles. Right now with Norman running in 30th, Rogers would be into the playoffs by 1 point, and Michael Norman would be out. Looks like Cody Lamas, Dylan Young, and Carson Gum we know are going to probably not make it, as Carson Gum has made no forward progress. He's still running back in the 36th position, so I don't think, unless some of our playoff contenders have some issues here in these final 10 laps, don't think Carson Gum's going to make it. Michael Norman making a pass there on Benjamin Miles, now makes a pass on Wyatt Quayle. But Zach Rogers made a pass on Marcus Sacchi further up, so the battle is still very close between the 6 and the 18. That moved Rogers to 20th. Now Norman has to be 28th or better. Where does he cross the line this time? He's in 28th. And now trying to make a move on Derek Hamill as he just got into the left rear quarter panel of the 31. So Michael Norman's making progress. But at the same time as he's passing Derek Hamill, Zach Rogers trying to get by Trey Wright. Meanwhile, let's move back up to the front. Cole Baker continuing to lead the way. Baker trying to pull a last-minuter. Came in dead last of the 8 playoff contenders and trying to lock his way into the Final Four with his 3rd win of the season. He won the Super Speedway at Daytona. He won the road course of Charlotte Roval on strategy. And now coming in a huge points deficit after back-to-back DNFs in the first 2 races of this round of the playoffs. Looking like he could very well go back to victory lane. And not only that, head into Homestead, Miami with a 5-point bonus over the remaining 3 competitors. Matt Haas right there, though, wants to deny him. He could care less about the fact that Baker's trying to make the playoffs. With where Baker's right now, even if he didn't win, I think he would make it into the Final Four, as he's running way ahead of Michael Norman, way ahead of Zach Rogers. Dylan Young's multiple laps down, Cody Lamas is multiple laps down, and Carson Gum is off the pace. Nearing 5 laps to go. It'll be 6 to go next time by. But James Qualls up here in the top 10 in 9th. He's been involved in 2 cautions today, and a solid outing for him. I actually just thought, too, what about drivers being able to make it on fuel? Would we see green flag pit stops in the closing stages of this race? I don't know. We went back green around the halfway point. Don't really know what the fuel window is for these drivers. So we should bear that in mind as well. Michael Norman now up to the 26th position. Trying to get 25th away from Alexander Rowe. Zach Rogers now has been kicked to the high side ahead of him. Marcus Sacchi making a pass. That drops Rogers back to 20th. So right now Michael Norman would be in and Zach Rogers would be out as they run. And Norman is slowly closing in on that 6 car as well. There's only 4 cars separating the 6 and the 18. And there needs to be, for Zach Rogers, at least 9 cars separating the 2 of them for Rogers to be in and Norman to be out. Ryan Brommer is dropped back here in the 15th position, but that's still enough to get him into the Final Four. Ryan Acosta currently still riding in 10th, as they're going to get around the slower car of Cody Lamas. Dylan Young still sits on pit road. Benny Watson, great run for him. Right now, oh, caution! No! Pit stops! Oh my word, we got pit stops. Oh my goodness, Benny Watson's gonna stay out. He's gonna inherit the race lead, I think. Yes, he is. Pit stops here in the closing stages with 4 laps to go. It was 3 to go now when Benny Watson hit the line. He stayed out. Jack Mitchell stayed out as well. They're both looking for their first win of the season. Is Watson going to risk it and stay out an extra lap? Yes, he is. He's going for broke. Jack Mitchell stays out as well. Levi McIntyre stayed out. So too did Ryan Acosta, Jose Mills, and Mitchell Collins. Who can make it? Who cannot? And now we don't even know about between Michael Norman and Zach Rogers in that battle for the final playoff spot. Even Cole Baker not able to make it. That might have been him losing out in the playoff position. The white flag will be displayed this time. A fuel strategy race in the closing stages at Rockingham. Benny Watson, the winner last season at Darlington. Since then, he has not been able to find victory lane. And right now, he is en route to getting his first checkered flag of Season 2. William Brock in front of him. Brock came off pit road. But Benny Watson using the draft off turn 4 for the final time. Benny Watson is going to win here at Rockingham. How about that in the closing stages? Mitchell crosses second. Who's going to get third? Looks like it's Levi McIntyre. Then Acosta, Mills, Collins. Shelley was 7th. Kukal on 8th. Brommer 9th. And Jesse Turner is going to get the top 10. What a finish here at the end. And now, we don't have a clue who made it into the playoffs. At least for the Final Four. Ryan Acosta, Ryan Brommer, top 10s for them, so they are in. We know that for certain, but what about the third and fourth drivers? It all depends on where they finished. Norman was in before the pit stops began. Cole Baker was in before the pit stops began, but what about now with some drivers able to make it and some drivers not able to make it? Take a look at the finishing results. So we know Ryan Acosta 4th place is in. We know Ryan Brommer 9th place is in. Baker finished 16th. Norman finished 22nd. Rogers finished 23rd. And Carson Gum finished 38th, so he was not in the hunt. Michael Norman finished 1 position ahead of Zach Rogers, so Norman is in. Cole Baker needed to finish... What was it? Needed to finish 23 positions ahead of... No, I'm sorry. 27 positions ahead of Michael Norman to get in. He did not do that. He finished 6 positions ahead. And then between him and Zach Rogers, he needed to finish 19 positions ahead, and he did not do that, as he only finished, 7 positions ahead of Rogers. So if my calculations are correct, these green flag pit stops really were the Achilles heel of Cole Baker. I almost wonder if maybe because of the damage Baker had having to come to pit road, they may have spent extra time repairing the damage. And so if my calculations are correct, it'll be Ryan Acosta, Ryan Brommer, Michael Norman, and Zach Rogers that will battle for the championship next week at Homestead Miami Speedway. Florida natives, Dylan Young and Cody Lamas, they're out. Carson Gum, he is out. And so too is Cole Baker. So 2 Dodges, 1 Toyota, and 2 Toyotas and 2 Dodges actually are going to be the ones that battle it out for the championship next week. But a Toyota went to victory lane here today, fuel strategy race, and Benny Watson gets his 2nd career Duracell Cup Series victory, 1st of the season, as he wins the Subway 400. Talked about the rest of the top 5 here. Jack Mitchell, great run for him, so close to getting his first career win, but just came up short. Levi McIntyre started on pole, brings it home podium in 3rd. Great run for him. Ryan Acosta moves into the Final 4 with a 4th place run, and Jose Mills will finish in 5th. Mitchell Collins was out in front early on. He's going to finish 6th. How about James Shelley? Great run there for the 25 team, as he'll bring it home in 7th. 8th place for Sebastian Kukulon. This is going to be very interesting here because Kukulon was the highest finishing rookie. We know Cody Lamas finished way down there in the 39th position. He was the last car of the rookies to finish. And remember, Kukulon came into this one only 3 points back. He just gained 5 points on Cody Lamas there, which means he has a 2-point lead over Cody Lamas for the rookie points lead going into next week. So the rookie points battle is still happening in next week's season finale. Ryan Brommer, he's locked into the Final 4 with a 9th place run, and Jesse Turner brings it home with a solid outing of 10th. And then for Michael Norman and Zach Rogers, 22nd and 23rd. Good enough for them to make it into the final round. We should also point out as well that none of the playoff contenders won this race, which means that Brommer, Acosta, Rogers, and Norman will all be tied up for the points lead in the Final Four battle next week at Homestead, so it will come down to highest finishing position in next week's Homestead Miami season finale. Take a look at the rest of the finishing results here of the drivers, and a lot of them finishing off the lead lap because of those pit stops. I believe the last car that was able to stay out might have been Matthew Rodriguez. No, actually no, because Cole Baker came to pit road. Let's see, who pitted and who stayed out? Not really sure where the cut line is. Maybe it's Chris Dollerton in 15th might have been the last car to make it on fuel. And then Cole Baker from the lead pitting probably, would have been 16th with Matt Haas, who was battling with him in 17th. So probably Dollerton was the last car that was actually able to make it on fuel strategy. Tough break there for three playoff contenders, 38th, 39th, 40th. Carson Gum, Cody Lamas, Dylan Young. That takes them out of playoff contention for the Final Four. And we already mentioned about Cole Baker. Really needed to finish up there in the top 10 and have drivers like Zach Rogers, Michael Norman have some issues. They finished in close proximity, so Baker will not make it in either. So we are left with our Final Four. 2 Toyota drivers, Ryan Acosta, Michael Norman. 2 Dodge drivers, teammates out of Bulldog Motorsports, in Ryan Brommer and Zach Rogers. Who will be our champion in Season 2 next week at Homestead Miami? Can't wait to find out. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race here from Rockingham. Certainly threw me a curveball with those late race pit stops. If you enjoyed it, though, be sure to give us a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We have shown you full feature results from today's event. These are your point standings, your updated point standings with your Final Four. Ryan Acosta, Ryan Brommer, Michael Norman, and Zach Rogers. They will battle for the championship next week at Homestead Miami Speedway. Until then, I've been Seth Cole. You've been watching a production of the NNSCRA Offline Racing at its best.